It's like you're so high octane and you're so like up to speed with everything that's happening around the world at all times. It's mind-blowing to me how you're able to do this stuff, how you're able to stay up, do comedy late, do podcasts every day, and be like up to speed with all the news, and like have like thought through a lot of these things that just happened yesterday. I'm just fascinated by that, dude.
Well, that's all I do.
Tall and funny comedian Joe Rogan had fellow podcaster Danny Jones on the podcast today, which ended up being one of the better episodes of the year. It felt like an old school JRE episode where they talked about everything from UFOs to the moon landing, pyramids, and ancient floods. Joe sprinkled in his customary AI fear-mongering and reminded us about the pandemic and how everyone should have just listened to him. Again. But this episode also led to one of the most embarrassing moments for Rogan I've seen all year, and it all has to do with this photo of him on a $50 million yacht going around. Now, before all you haters start bullying little Joe over his height, this has nothing to do with him pretending to be 5'8". If Joe Rogan says he's 5'3", then I believe him. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being 4'8". You people are savages. But like most of you listening, I've been waiting to hear Joe Rogan's response to the president's latest backflip on releasing the Epstein Files, because as we've seen, a few of his buddies are copping a massive backlash from their fans over this same situation, including Andrew Schultz, Tim Dillon. I mean, Schultz is a fucking tool, so that checks out, but I'm actually super disappointed about Tim Dillon downplaying the whole thing. Anyway, so when this episode of JRE dropped, I found it confusing that they didn't talk about the backflip from Trump, until I zoomed in when young Jamie shared his screen and saw the date it was recorded, July the 2nd, around 2 weeks ago. So when Danny started polishing Joe's knob over how committed Rogan is to being on top of the latest developments and having well thought out takes to share with his audience, I literally physically cringed. To think that Joe's sitting on a $50 million yacht with his legs dangling over the side, unable to touch the water even from the lower deck, and didn't think to himself, you know, maybe I should tell Jamie to cut that bit out where Danny gave me a spit and polish. The irony in this whole clip is absolutely wild.
My favorite Bill Hicks joke, at least I'm not like a historian on Bill Hicks, but the one where he's talking about the sock puppets. He's like, yeah, I like this guy on the right. He seems like he fits my ideas. He's like, well, I think I fancy the guy on the left. He's like, what the f? The same guy's holding both the puppets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. Perfectly illustrates the way it is. You know?
Yeah, he would have been a great podcast guest.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, because he was like saying these things when no one even knew what he was saying. You know, and he was putting it into comedy. A lot of people thought that the will of the people, you know, the president, we got to get a good president in there that's looking out for us. And they didn't really understand that it's all being bought and paid by special interest groups, large corporations, huge donors, and that when the guy gets in there, he's just representing the same thing no matter what. Yeah,
the amount of reading and insight and learning that guy was, a lot of those dudes were able to do back then pre-internet is astonishing. Rework them with draft after draft and refine it into like the most perfect way to communicate it to people to where it lands. You know, it's fucking crazy. Like last night listening to you talk was fucking incredible, dude. Like listening to how you were at the end doing the Q&A with the crowd. You're like, I ran out of jokes. Who wants to ask me questions? You're so high octane and you're so like up to speed with everything that's happening around the world at all times. It's mind-blowing to me how you're able to do this stuff, how you're able to stay up, do comedy late, do podcasts every day, and be like up to speed with all the news, and like have like thought through a lot of these things that just happened yesterday. I'm just fascinated by that, dude.
Well, that's all I do. But I mean, I don't have a regular job, right? So this is my job. Yeah. This is my job to kind of pay attention to stuff. Yeah. You know, and have opinions on things. And then the tricky thing is taking those opinions and trying to make them funny. You know, trying to like put it in a way that's going to be hilarious on stage.
Joe Rogan is up to speed on what's happening around the world at all times, including right now when he's sitting on Epstein's yacht, soaking up some sun in the middle of possibly one of the biggest political scandals of the 21st century. While his guest was gargling Rogan's jizz, telling his audience that Joe's the guy you can trust to always be informed, always have an insightful take, always provide commentary when it matters, Rogan is literally absent silent, enjoying the high life, completely detached from the fallout that he helped to create. Because let's not forget, Rogan wasn't just a passive observer of this narrative. He endorsed it full-throatedly, and he didn't gag once. It was only a few weeks ago that he sat across from Kash Patel in his studio, nodding his head as the head of the FBI tried to backpedal like Lance Armstrong, and Rogan sold it exactly the way he sells everything else, as independent, unfiltered, just asking questions while conveniently never asking the right ones. And now, as Trump has not only failed to deliver, but doubled down and openly mocked podcasters like Rogan, Schultz, and the dozen other useful idiots who did his heavy lifting for him, Slow Rogan is somewhere in the Mediterranean on a yacht, completely silent, legs dangling, letting a pre-recorded episode air where he gets praised for being on top of things as the very narrative he helped promote collapses spectacularly in real time. This is honestly some of the funniest shit I've ever seen Rogan do. If only he knew how funny he is when he isn't even trying. Just listen to how suspicious and unconvinced he was 2 weeks ago when they discussed Epstein. I can't wait for Slow Joe to catch up on what's happening while he's been gone.
And then I don't know what happened with Ghislaine
Maxwell. And you don't
Maxwell.
think
What's
they could
doing
fake
right
the
now?
moon landing?
Yeah.
Shut the f*** up. Shut the f*** up. They've got videotape, and all of a sudden they don't. You know, you got the director of the FBI on this show saying there's no if there was, nothing you're looking for is on those tapes. Like, what? Why did they say there was thousands of hours of tapes of people doing horrible shit? Why did they say that?
Right.
Didn't Pam Bondi say that? She said something about that there was like thousands of hours of tapes of people doing horrible crimes.
There is. And didn't the FBI dude say that there was nothing?
Kash Patel said there's nothing you're looking for. Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to push back.
Right. No, of course. I
obviously,
understand.
He's saying what he has to say.
Right.
Mystery surrounds the Jeffrey Epstein files after Bondi claims tens of thousands of videos. Tens of thousands. Jesus Christ. Here it says, during a Fox News Channel interview in February, Bondi suggested an alleged Epstein client list was sitting on her desk.
Yeah. Well, the list is one thing, right? I mean, there's so many people on the list that are probably innocent. But they're...
Right. They just went to the island for a party.
No, there's got to be a hard drive.
There's got to be.
Sitting in Tel Aviv right now.
Yeah, that's...
He had like 100 cameras in that penthouse, in every single house.
Do you know his house is for sale in New York?
That's amazing.
Yeah. And
should make that a podcast studio.
No, my wife found it on Trulia or whatever it is.
Yeah.
One of the maps. And she's like, look at this beautiful, because we were in New York.
Townhouse?
Yeah, like it's not a townhouse. It's a house. It's a big ass house. It's like multiple stories.
The one right across the street from Central Park?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That one. It's for sale right now. Who wants to live in the Epstein house? First of all, if I bought that house, I'd want the Clinton painting. Can you get me that painting?
Yeah.
Clinton in the
it's
blue
gotta
dress.
Come with all that shit inside.
I have to have that painting. I want George Bush with the Jenga towers and the paper airplanes. I want all of it. Okay, she said there were monitors inside this cabinet. I looked on the cameras and I saw toilet, bed, toilet. She said, visibly spooked. Like, I'm never going to use the restroom here and I'm never going to sleep here. You know what I mean? It was very obvious that they were like monitoring private moments. Yeah, of course. Yeah. This was the house, Jamie?
Yeah, I was looking up stuff on the house. That was like what they
found. I wonder if the house still has cameras in it somewhere that they haven't
found
yet.
They definitely, don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to scan the shit out of that house. You'd have to take the walls apart. There's probably listening devices inside the walls. Like, who knows? If this was like really an intelligence operation, they probably had that house fully wired.
Come on, Joe, haven't you heard? There's nothing to see here, pal. It was all a hoax. There's no list, no videos. There were no parties, no plane trips, no island. It was all just one big political hit job to make Trump look bad. Come on, buddy, keep up. I mean, what we just watched is peak Rogan, a man who built his entire persona on being skeptical, independent, willing to challenge anyone, now waving the white flag over his interview with Kash Patel as if he was just some casual observer in the room. What am I going to do? Push back? He's saying what he has to say. What a massive fucking cop-out. This is coming from the guy who doesn't let anyone off easy, the fatherless martial artist with a well-calibrated bullshit detector. But when it comes to challenging politicians, he acts like it would have been unreasonable to question Kash Patel, Trump's own operative, as he sat there spinning excuses about why Epstein's files hadn't been released and how there's nothing to see here. I seriously cannot wait to see how Rogan spins it now that Trump's completely shut the whole thing down. He probably called up the yacht company and extended his rental so he doesn't have to come back and deal with this shit right now. Then he's on the phone with young Jamie asking him how many banked episodes they've got tucked away in the vault. Because fuck asking real questions to your guests, right? If Rogan goes too hard on them, then his two daddies, Dana White and Elon Musk, might take his iPad off him for a week. But this is Rogan's signature move. He wasn't endorsing anything, he was just letting cash speak, right? He wasn't promoting any narrative, he was just asking questions. Except we all know what this is. It's Rogan insulating himself from accountability while still having a seat at the table. And now that it's all fallen apart, now that Trump has mocked half the country for even caring about Epstein in the first place, Rogan is still going to shrug his shoulders and say, what am I going to do? Now that the narrative has collapsed, Rogan's just left sitting there looking small, detached, and somehow still pretending this is all above his pay grade, even though he knows that none of this adds up.
So here's the thing that happens with rich, powerful people. They can't go anywhere, right? If you're, like, say, a Jeff Bezos type or someone who's like an Elon Musk type. Let's just, and I'm not accusing them of anything. I'm just saying at that caliber of celebrity. If you're Bill Clinton back in the 80s or the 90s, whatever it was, you can't go party. You know,
right.
Everybody knows who you are. You got to be protected. So you have these guys, like a Jeffrey Epstein type guy, who works with the elite of the elite clientele. It's all movie stars, big-time politicians, world leaders, scientists, Nobel Prize winners, and they all meet together and have fascinating conversations and cocktails, and there's beautiful girls everywhere. Of course. What a great idea.
Right.
Hey, Joe, when you say beautiful girls, you know you're talking about kids, right? Maybe not such a great idea, you know. That's kind of what this whole thing is about. What other hot takes have you got about Epstein?
How many different worldwide decisions can be manipulated because of these people and the compromises you have on them?
Right.
It's really a brilliant thing to do.
Yeah.
From an intelligence perspective.
Yeah, maybe not. I'd say it's a shitty thing to do from any perspective. You know, with the kids and all, it's a pretty tough sell, don't you think, Joe? Maybe intelligence agencies should just stick to good old-fashioned espionage. I mean, aren't you the guy who had the balls to have Edward Snowden on your podcast? The guy who uncovered one of the biggest breaches of individual privacy in history? Yet here you are frothing over blackmailing powerful people around the world using thousands of kids. But as long as you throw in the caveat that you're coming from an intelligence perspective, then it's all good. Seriously, what the fuck are we doing here, B? These people are sick. It's only a matter of time before we see Rogan pull out his best stool-humping mental gymnastics to make us believe that he's a victim just like us. The gaslighting coming out of the podcast universe right now is unfucking believable. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, then head over to my main channel, Podcast Cringe, and subscribe so you don't miss out on all my uploads throughout the week. Also, don't forget to hit the link in the description for my Patreon, where you'll find my uncensored, longer-form content covering Rogan, Kill Tony, and everything in between. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.
Like, to focus on the culture wars 24/7, 365, and talk about it all day is draining, dude.
Yeah, you can't. It's bad. It's bad for you.
Yeah.
That's why people that are on social media all day, they're poisoned.